Finance Committee members here, plus a couple of extra JPs. We're always grateful for everybody that can and will come. We have two of our elected officials. That's all we've got today. So in the meeting in general, this is our regular monthly meeting, the week before our general meeting on next Tuesday night in Osceola at the courthouse. So we'll be reviewing the monthly expenditures in general and taking care of our regular monthly business to prepare for next week's meeting. We'll also be looking at some of the budgets for 2021. We've got three in particular. Largest one's going to be the sheriff. But we have a special guest here today that's requested to come talk to us, David Burnett. David, he's filled so many offices and positions for us in Mississippi County over the years. Can't begin to name them all because I'd leave something out. But David wants to talk to us a little bit. Now, David, if I'm not mistaken, is coming to talk to us about the Prosecuting Attorney's Office here in Mississippi County. David, just to let me lay a little foundation for just a second. You correct me if I'm wrong. So our prosecuting attorney, the district office is founded in Jonesboro, and it's been Scott Ellington.
That's correct.
Scott Ellington has ran for or is in the process of running unopposed as a circuit judge and will be leaving that office 2 years early. That will leave that office open, and it will be appointed by the governor.
By the governor.
Have no idea who. I mean, absolutely no idea who.
Speculation.
The prosecuting attorney, Scott Ellington or whoever's in that position, has the responsibility of appointing deputy prosecuting attorneys in the relative court districts. Like we have the Blytheville District Court with Judge Shannon Langston. We've had the Osceola District Court that's had Judge Don Betterton. But Judge Don has been defeated in the primary by Catherine Dean. And Catherine Dean has served as the deputy prosecuting attorney in Osceola. So that's going to leave that position open down there. And it will be the responsibility of the new prosecuting attorney, Scott Ellington's replacement, to appoint somebody to fill in down in Osceola for the next 2 years. Now we, as a quorum court, looked at the prosecuting attorney's budget back September the 28th. But David's getting involved, and he's obviously an Osceola attorney of long standing down there, and he just wants to talk to us about that budget a little bit and about some of the needs that's going to be down there. I've actually talked to some other people that's called me about what's going on and the needs that will be down there. But is the background that I've laid out, is that fairly accurate, David?
That's fairly accurate, Michael. Just to add to what you said, there are actually 6 deputy prosecutor positions in Mississippi County. There are currently 3 in Blytheville. There are currently 2 in Osceola, myself and Catherine Dean. I believe, I hadn't looked at the budget in years, but I think there's $112,000 appropriated for the prosecuting attorney's office. Of that, some $39,000 or $40,000 is for a victim witness coordinator that the county is reimbursed by the state for that position. When you take the total number of felony cases handled by the south end and the north end handles 60% of the felony cases that are not drug related. The south end handles 40%. The problem is, right now, I've been doing the job, there are just 2 of us down there doing the deputy's job, and I have no expenses whatsoever. I'm paying my secretaries for that. We have no help whatsoever in the way of victim witness coordinator. That's all in Blytheville, which is fine. And by the way, I want to make it real clear, I'm not wanting anybody to take away from what they're getting here in Blytheville or the north end whatsoever. But we desperately need more expense money in the south end to cover secretarial expenses, to cover the cost of victim witness coordinating. And right now, Catherine Dean is receiving $10,000 or $888 a month total expense money. If you took 40% of what there, it'll be almost $45,000. And all I'm asking, and by the way, I'm 79 years old, I'm only gonna do this job maybe in a year or two, so I'm talking more for somebody that might come after me. But fair is fair, and we simply need more expense money. I'm not talking about salary, we're paid by the state. And it didn't use, when I started, the county put the bill for most of it, but we were on the fee system, and it was totally different. But in any event, we need additional expense money, not salary, but I wouldn't care if it was a line item employee, that'd be fine. But right now, what secretarial help I'm paying for, which I'm not complaining about that, I'm just talking about for the coming year. And something needs to be done to equalize it to some extent, and that's basically why I'm here with hat in hand, asking for some additional expense money for the South End prosecutor.
Okay, let me
There
ask
will
you.
be a third prosecutor appointed down there also, but that hadn't been done, probably won't be done until the governor nominates somebody to replace Scott.
Isn't it a very real possibility that the new appointees could be from out of county?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it's likely
that could happen.
that it could come from Jonesboro, Craighead County, or even Crittenden County,
Well, yeah,
just to find somebody that would come and do that job.
well, it's not a job that people really are looking for, really, but, in fact, Cressman, who was appointed circuit judge, was filling in for that third slot in Osceola, and that's why there are only two now. But nobody's been brought into, and it's really pretty difficult. It's 3 full days a week in district court. And then you have to do all the paperwork, and you gotta have secretarial help to do that. And I mean, it's, we need help, is all like I say, I'm here hat in hand.
So isn't Catherine Dean's secretary also trying to help some also?
Catherine pays her secretary out of her personal money.
Out of her personal money, but she does some of the work.
Yeah, she does some of the work.
She gets $10,000 a year from the county. I think it's $888 a month.
Right.
The budget for the prosecuting office is right at $113,000. Blyville gets 102, Osceola gets 10. Right to this day, Blyville has prosecuted 186 felony cases, Osceola has prosecuted 195. So they're actually, even though it normally is 60-40, Osceola is ahead on felony cases right now. And I'm chiming in with Judge Burnett because well, Catherine's, I've been talking to her a little bit. And for 25 years, that's what it's been. Blyville's been getting that much and Osceola's been getting that much. And, but Catherine is asking, I think, for $45,000, and she's been looking for her replacement to fill that position. Because when she's gone, it's just gonna be Judge Burnett. So, or Senator Burnett, like you said, he's had a lot of titles.
I don't know what to call him.
But, she's been looking for her replacement, and she's not been able to find a replacement, because when they see that they only get $10,000, they're not wanting to come to Mississippi County to work. And because they know they're gonna have to be putting a lot of this out of their own pocket. So Catherine's asking for about $45,000, and she's broken it down if you want me to give it to you.
Yeah, I'd like to see what,
It's $32,000 for support staff, $1,800 for telephone, $200 postage, $400 internet, $250 insurance and taxes, $3,700 utilities, $3,600 rent, $1,000 dues, membership subscriptions, and that's stuff to help you with, legal opinions. $1,000 for copier and supplies, and $1,050 miscellaneous.
Right now, all of the equipment is purchased by whoever the deputy prosecutor is. All of the supplies are purchased by the prosecutor, and it's not equitable, it's not fair. That's just simply put. But again, I want to emphasize, I am not trying to take a dime away from Curtis and Gina. And I know your budget's tight, but
let me ask you, hypothetical, if you quit in 12 months and we have 2, possibly 3, appointed possibly from out of county.
They're not appointed, they're hired by whoever gets appointed.
Right, but, so we could have 2 or 3 deputy prosecutors for Mississippi County in the south end that don't even live here. But don't we need the office here? Don't we need
Absolutely.
a uniform coordinating office?
Absolutely. The sheriff can tell you, when you're dealing with felonies, you've got to consult with the prosecuting attorney, both in the investigative phase and definitely during the trial phase. And if you've got somebody living out of county or away from there, it makes it almost impossible. You got to have somebody local.
In county.
And like I say, 2 years is probably going to be the maximum for me. I'll probably be too old to do it after that. But, I mean, I'm going to be doing it for a while.
So basically what you and Ms. Dean are both asking is you're looking for a full-time position
Well, I don't.
and the funding for that, $32,000?
We're asking for the expense money. That would be one expense money, not for 3 people. I mean,
No.
it would have to be shared.
But it'd be a general office, a single coordinator,
Absolutely.
and all the expenses related to. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, you'll have one prosecutor that'll be the chief deputy. That's what Catherine is right now. Then you'll have 2 others that will be lesser paid. But as far as authority, equal, but, in other words, any of them can sign an information. But we need people that live here, yes.
And an office located here for our cases down in South End.
That's right. And you gotta have file cabinets, you gotta keep those records for 10 years, I think. I mean, it's a period of time. And you'll have old dead files and boxes stored up. I mean, it's, $10,000 isn't gonna cut it.
Aren't you renting an office from Catherine now, Judge?
I rent a building from her, yeah.
Yeah. And then Catherine's office is in her home. So she's working out of her home, and for the most part. So because there is no support money for the South End prosecutor, when $10,000 is not,
No.
and she's asking for 45 is what Catherine's asking for her office and that's not to pay her salary or judge's salary, or maybe if we get a third prosecutor, that's just what I give you a while ago, and I'll be glad to break that down more or have her email it to you.
So if we had that central office with a central coordinating person, all 3 prosecutors could work out of that and use that same coordinator and,
Well, we work together now, but we've
Sure.
got 2 separate offices. But now, you need to, I've been doing this since April, and I hadn't gotten a dime in expense money, hadn't asked for it, but I am now.
JP's, now's the time to ask Judge Burnett
I'd be glad to answer
or
any
Justice
question.
Norvell, either one, questions. Do you understand, does everybody understand what they're asking for?
They're asking for $45,000. They're getting 10 now, so I'm assuming, if I'm not mistaken, they're asking for another 35.
Yeah. And if you wanted to make that a salary position, I mean, I don't have any objection to that, but then you got FICA and all that other that which either Catherine or I are paying now for employees.
So, and this is where the recommendation came from the Association of Counties. That we
About staff.
about staff, right?
Yes, and I have one copy of that if you want. I don't know if I want that. Part of this is about public defenders, but the other part.
Judge Burnett, is there any option for us to look to the state to help with any of this extra money?
Well,
Do you know?
The victim witness coordinator, like I said, I think the county, if I'm not correct, somebody needs to tell me, but I believe that position is reimbursed by the state. We have asked the state to make one available for the South End, and their comment is, well, we can't do it, you already have one for Mississippi County. And that's in the North End only.
Let me
So that's the problem.
read one excerpt, 16-21-156, funding of expenses and additional employees of the prosecuting attorney's offices. And it says, each county or counties within a judicial district shall continue to bear the responsibility and expense of providing, at the county's expense through an annual appropriation, the following at sufficient levels for operation, but not less than the amounts appropriated by ordinance in effect January 1, 1999. And that includes the cost of facilities, equipment, supplies, salaries, and benefits of existing support staff, and other office expenses for elected prosecuting attorneys and deputy prosecuting attorneys, and any and all other line item appropriation as approved in the 1999 county budget, except for deputy prosecuting attorney salaries and benefits. And 2, the county shall provide compensation of additional personnel and expenses within the office of prosecuting attorney and deputy prosecuting attorney when approved by the quorum court.
So we can, what Catherine's asking for, we can approve, and what Judge Burnett's asking for, according to that, we can appropriate the money for that office, for the support
Yes,
staff.
we legally can do that, yes.
I'm not on this committee, but if I was, I'd make that motion.
But it's pretty obvious in looking at this, there's something wrong.
Yeah, it's a little lopsided.
Yeah.
And I'm like the judge, I don't think anything needs to be taken from Blavel, because Blavel needs every penny they got.
I'm not here asking for that.
But we need to approve more money for Osceola.
You know, back when I appointed Leon Burrow as deputy prosecutor, that's where the balance got messed up, I think, way back then, 30 years ago. Even back when I was prosecuting attorney, that's probably what happened.
Sheriff, do you have any desire to weigh in on this? I'm not wanting to put you on the spot and you don't have to say a word.
No, not really, but they cannot operate on $10,000.
Let's put this with our budget request, see what kind of money we've got left after we finish it, and we'll do as much as we can towards what they're asking for.
So what Justice Nelson has just recommended is that we add the additional $35,000 and raise it to $45,000 and add it in. In our budgeting process, Judge, we take everybody's budgets. We're going to take the sheriff's here, and he's going to present what he wants, and then we do that with everybody, and then at the end we add it all up and see how much how many requests we have, and then how much money we've got, and then if we have to make adjustments, we will. But we, at Justice Nelson's request, will add this into your deputy prosecuting attorney budget and budget request and move forward.
Okay. I don't have the figures that Justice Norval had. I could have prepared that. If you don't mind, I'll use your figures.
I'll get Catherine to get them to you, because my handwriting, you probably can't read it.
And
Basically, what Catherine is asking for would equalize it, be 35 and 10 and 35 and 10, correct?
Yeah.
45,000.
45,000 is what she's asking for.
Okay.
And let me make it clear, I'm not sure, I think she's asking for 45,000 total, not 45,000 in additional to the 10.
No, that was total 45. That would have made the breakdown equal. Well, it'd be fair.
Sheriff?
Miss Dean is supposed to, if she hadn't already, Kelly, I'm not sure, she's supposed to send you, the quorum court, her budget for the prosecuting attorney as well as the judge for 21.
Okay.
She will be the district judge next year.
Correct.
Yeah, so this is not even gonna benefit her, other than it's gonna find somebody to replace her.
It'll benefit me because I'm going to replace her at that job.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
No, but we have to have a functional prosecuting attorney.
Judge Burnett is rich, I mean, he can afford to pay all these expenses, but we gotta, he don't need to spend his own money.
I've been doing it.
We're going to accept your request and move forward with it,
I
Judge.
appreciate it. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Glad you come. Hey, and we're going to continue the meeting. You're welcome to stay.
Well, I've got my foot in a cast here and got my wife across the street, so I think I'm gonna hobble home.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Guys, I'm going to real briefly go through the regular month stuff right quick so we can knock that out. We've got to have that done for the regular meeting next week. won't delve on a whole lot of things. I don't have a lot of questions. We are 75% through the year at the end of September. All the elected officials are within their budget as far as their office budgets are concerned. The courthouse and other county are still tracking awfully high. Part of that's due to the move out to Burnett. The courthouse budget in general is at 92%, and the other county expenditures are at 88%. Just brief points of interest. The Bible construction project, page 107 if you're looking on your budget, we've expended $4,527,895.15, a little over $4.5 million. In the Osceola construction project, which is page 108, we've expended $525,427.43. So the projects are moving right along. County General is at 70%, County Roads at 59%. Justice Burge gave us the landfill report, County Jail at 67%. There weren't any really big issues that I found. We always can find some small questions and problems and concerns, but there was nothing major in the September expenditure report that really stood out to me, unless it was to some of y'all in going through it. So we've got a few little business items to take care of. The first one I'd like to take care of is we need a new account, a line item to accept the COVID money or CARES Act money. You know, the county can receive federal monies back for COVID expenditures, COVID-related expenditures, and it can end up being quite a bit of money. The talk last week was over $600,000, but the AAC is recommending that we establish a particular fund or line item for that, and that would come from this committee and then through the full court to set up that fund. The AAC has provided us with a sample ordinance in setting that fund up, if this committee cares to move forward with that.
Didn't we already set up something to take the COVID money?
I don't think so, not really, have we? Not officially.
Not by ordinance, but didn't we talk about this doing something?
We have talked about it. I know we talked about it the last budget meeting we had. We just kind of postponed it till today, is what I remember.
We've talked about it, but we haven't done it, and we really need to do it now.
But we haven't received any money from COVID.
No.
But we might in November.
I think you could, the first date you could apply for it was like October 15th.
Right.
So now it can be applied. I'm assuming, is the Office of Emergency Planning, is that who's going to?
Wayne Reynolds, they'll go through him.
Okay. I move that we move forward. I guess we have to do it by.
And set this fund up.
Yes, set up the fund for the COVID reimbursement to the county.
Justice Nelson seconded. We have a motion that we set up a new fund for the CARES Act money that we hope to receive. Motion made by Justice Byrd, seconded by Justice Nelson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, then we've got Energy and Property Committee asking for money again. I can't imagine.
I know.
I'm sorry I missed your meeting. How'd that go?
Oh, it went wonderful as always. It's pretty much just informational. The project's moving along. Hopefully, we're not getting too far behind due to weather. So there were some delays. So the pay app for this month was not near as high as what they had anticipated it being. So instead of being $850,000, it was only around $250,000. So the recommendation from the Energy and Property is that we just simply put that to appropriate $250,000 back in, and that'll still leave us with over $1 million appropriated.
Anybody got questions of Justice Jackson? You want to put that in form of a motion?
Yes, I make a motion that we appropriate $250,000 into the construction fund.
Second.
Got a motion and a second that we appropriate $250,000 over into the construction fund for construction-related purposes in the Blytheville Courthouse project. All opposed say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Kelly, if you move on that one for us on the appropriation ordinance.
I will think that you're doing well once the roof goes on the new
Yeah.
park.
You heard right.
In the meantime,
I don't know if it really makes any difference, Justice White, but when you first called for the vote, you said anybody, all opposed, say aye.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, okay.
I want to make sure that passes.
Thank you, yes, sir, I appreciate that. We've got some possible expenditures we just want to mention, and I don't think we're ready to do anything much about it today, but, we're in the process of changing software in both the Treasurer's office and the Assessor's office, trying to get it where everybody in the courthouse kind of communicates with all the other offices in the courthouse. We're moving to a company called Apprentice. But Kelly's pointed out to me that part of the process involves we're leaving a company. We're going to a new one, so we're leaving an old one. Well, the old one has all of our last several years of information. It's not currently in our possession, and we need continued access to that. And Peggy, you can chime in, and Kelly, you can chime in at any point in time here, but we need to be prepared that they're not going to give that to us for free. So you want to talk about that, or you rather Peggy talk, or?
It doesn't matter. We have asked for quotes for data extraction and data conversion. It's very expensive, and we aren't sure exactly what that final price is going to be. There's an issue with the type of software that we're leaving is in one, format, and then the new software is different. So we have to be very careful that our data comes to us in a usable format, and so we're just trying to negotiate all of those details and the pricing for that right now.
we went through this with the company we currently have last budget cycle, buying all this software. Can we not, buying it this time, put some type of caveat in there where that is our information and not theirs to sell back to us at some point down the road? This could get ridiculous, them selling us our own information.
You're talking about with the new company,
Yes,
put something in there with the new company
yes.
that this would be available to us. Peggy, you've been negotiating this contract. You understand what he's saying?
Yeah, I do, but are you talking about negotiating it with Apprentice?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could talk to them about doing that, but the information, our information is on the server. Is that right, Kelly? With Apprentice, with this other company, it's not. Is that right?
That's correct.
So we'll actually have physical possession of our, we'll have our data with this new company,
Yes,
where it's kind of been in the cloud with the old company?
yes.
But I think technically, legally, that information belongs to us. But
That's,
where they're gonna get you is, in order for us to
Read it.
transfer it to you, reclaim it, that's where the charge is gonna come in. I don't think they can claim the information as theirs. Am I right in that?
it is our information.
Yes.
But what they're wanting to charge is, it seems like an extraordinary amount to me. We did have a, conversation with Apprentice the other day about it. And, what all Kelly just told you that, they told us we would need, they said that. Among that, they also said, he suggested that we may want to seek legal advice about it.
Okay, so you're saying that we may need an attorney to deal with the old company?
With her old company, yes, the one that she's
With-
using
with-
now,
With the financial management old company?
yes. And he suggested maybe,
Steel Right and Collier.
yes.
Well, that could be just as expensive as purchasing it from this company we currently have. Can we not compare them to see? I hate to buy my own information.
I agree, but
What sort of ballpark figure price? Have they quoted any kind of price at all? Ballpark?
They did quote us on a ballpark, but we were only talking about maybe 10 years at the time. So it was around, I think, $18,000, but that's 3 applications. So we're talking AP, payroll, capital assets. That's the price for data conversion. It's an initial cutover, it's a final extract, and maybe something else in there. But, data retention laws
That's what it is.
say we have to have that payroll stuff for a lot longer, and some of it, that's the only place we have it, is in that software. So, just the advice that we've been given from the software people is, we should probably try to get it all. Another thing is we've been with that company for 30 years. We have payroll records on their software that go back to the 90s, early 90s. So we were advised that we probably need to just go ahead and try to get it all, bite the bullet, but to seek legal help to make sure that when we get it, it is usable to us. For free, they will give you your data on a media type that's available at that time, which we don't use. It's like an AS400 type media that we don't use. So if we take that free, we have our data, but then you're gonna have to hire a programmer, and you're gonna have to buy an AS400, and you're gonna have to have someone, download it and then turn it into something that we can understand. So the advice we were given was get a quote on complete data extraction into a usable format, which may be pretty expensive, but when you do that, use the attorneys to make sure that everything is worded correctly, and because once we are finished with that contract, it's like a flip switch. We will no longer be able to get that data. So that's why they advised us to check with, they advised us to use Steel, Right, and Gray. I don't know if that's from past experience or what all the details were, but I think that they looked at it as it would be worth it than to get down the road and not have access to your.
How quick does this need to happen?
Pretty quickly, because our contract is up in November, so we already know that we're going to have to extend it for a few months, and 6 months is the least amount of time that they will allow us to do it. They will allow us to extend it with an extra charge for 6 months, but we've got to get through W-2s and 1099s and all that, so we have to keep it. Plus, we have to have time to make sure that we get our data somehow.
Is
So we
your
don't-
office the only one in the county that's in this situation? You don't want using that software?
We're the only one using that software, but the collector's office and the assessor's office will be changing software too. I don't know what data situation they have, but they're leaving their current company and going to Apprentice also.
That causes me great concern.
So is there a possibility that each of those 2 offices may be in the same circumstance?
I don't know. I can't speak for what their software is right now. I don't know what kind of media they use, or I don't know about their data. But the same thing is, like Peggy said, we're gonna go to a company where we have an actual physical server in our possession. But if you decide to go to another company, even after that, that same information will then again have to be converted into whatever new company you're using. I think that's just, unless you go find someone that does exactly the same, that's just the.
So do you need any action today? Or do we need to just talk about it and then be ready to act on it?
Well, I don't have any concrete pricing for that extraction yet. I think Peggy and I just wanted you to know what was going on and maybe to have your permission to consult legal if we needed to. And we do need to move forward with these details, that's for sure, just because of time.
I don't think we need to move forward without legal representation.
We were advised not to, just to make sure that we got our data in a usable format and there were no glitches in a contract or wording that would trip that up.
What are you thinking?
The legal representation would suit me, but I just hate to spend $10,000, and they're not gonna do it probably for any less than that, to get something that's already ours.
Already ours, yeah. Get it in usable form.
And here again, getting it from them, an attorney assuring us that our information is given to us. What's to keep them from using it and keeping it from 3 or 4 or 5 years unless this attorney is made aware of that and says that they will dispose of what they have after 2 or 3 months and we're happy with what we got. There are some things that we need to talk with Harley and Susan about, or somebody does. You or somebody does.
Susan's working on her budget. She sent me some numbers I'm going to share with you here in just a few seconds. Would anybody have any heartburn in at least allowing them to consult with Steel, Wright, and Gray if they have to? I mean, the hourly rate that they've been charging us is $2.50 an hour.
Which is what Jeremy said he charged.
If y'all don't have any heartburn, we'll just at least start, but if we run into dollar issues,
Well, as soon as we find out something, we'll pass it on. We just don't have any.
the fact that we're meeting once a week right now kind of helps too.
It does. I agree.
Okay, so if y'all need to, then y'all go ahead and consult with them. You've got the contact information, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah.
It seems like the next logical step would be a letter from
Steel, Wright.
to the software people advising of what we want and what we expect, and is that, I
That's
assume that'd
correct.
be the
That's-
next step.
Yes, that is correct.
That makes it
Apprentice
all
also
legal.
offered their services to, help with, contact Steel, Wright, and Gray. They offered to help with that, tell them what.
Well, they would know what format they needed in and everything.
Along that legal expense line, I have been asked a few times lately by the public, members of the public, where are we in the lawsuit and how much money are we piling up now in expenditures? And I went over it briefly with Kelly the other day, and between the two sides, the judge and his initial legal research and the fees that we incurred there, and then his attorney fees in filing suit against the court, and then the court in defense of that suit, we're around a total, give or take a few dollars, of $20,000 today. And we're not there yet. So both sides are still filing papers and requests with the circuit judge that's got the case. I don't have a timeline. They don't have a timeline, but hopefully before the first of the year, we should see some activity in circuit court. So, but right now, today, we're at right at $20,000 in total legal expenditures in this issue. So, now then, Susan McCormick, our county collector, shared some recent tax information. We just passed our tax deadline without fees. Current collections on real estate, personal, and utilities. For 2019, last year, we were at, and I'm going to, rather than get the dollars and cents, $28.6 million in collections last year. This year, 30.5. $1.9 million gross collections higher day to day. So that's encouraging. She did include in that online payment. You know, this was the first time.
Yeah.
Online payment was $781,326.51. So that's significant.
Yeah, no, she said she thinks it's helping a lot.
Yeah, so it looks like it's helping a lot. And let me do point out that we, when I say we've collected 30 million, 30.5 is 28.6 to 30.5, it's 1.9. Now that's overall collections, and that's not all county general. We get just only a small portion of all of that. The schools by far get the bulk of all that. So, you know, it may be an extra $250,000 to county general.
Still helps.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have one of our major manufacturing businesses that hasn't come across yet with almost 650,000. So that'll be on top of these numbers. So business continues, and we're doing fairly well in our tax season, especially in view of what COVID's done to us. You know, we were having great concerns earlier in the year what would happen there.
Justice White, a while ago, I wanted to back up just a little bit, and this really, I wished he was here. When is Harley coming for his budget? Or has he already
Have you
been here?
heard from him?
I have not heard from him.
I would urge this court to strongly recommend he open his OCL office up. People are having all kinds of issues trying to get, especially if they buy a new vehicle or, you know, his office, they can't, you know, you can do a lot of stuff online, but the collector's offices has been having to do his work. The state revenue office is doing his work, or his people's work, and they've been told to quit. And I went in both offices the other day because the collector's office paid my taxes, and also went and got tags on my daughter's new car. And when I did everything online, and I'm not the most best technologically advantaged, I can't say it, advantaged person in this world, but I could see where a lot of folks could struggle with trying to assess a vehicle. So like I said, I would wish this court would strongly encourage him to open his OCL office.
I'll call him and see if maybe he might be able to present his budget to us next week too. Today is going to catch us up with what we have presented to us, and we need to keep moving forward. So yeah, point well taken. And we'll try to encourage Harley, try to get him in here and encourage him to get that office open.
And I hate to talk without him being here, but if he was here, I'd say the same thing. And anyway.
I will say that our county general balance today is slightly less than $1.2 million in county general. So we're in good shape there. The CD fund's at 3.4. So we're strong. We're in good shape at the moment. All right, with all that said, we have the sheriff's budget is going to be our largest one of the day today. Looking for 2021. I passed everybody out a copy of that particular budget. Look how big it is. He's the only one that's got more money than the county judge. He's also got more funds. Sheriff, is there any major differences that you really want to highlight and talk to us about?
Well, over the postings back in August when we had I'm not sure where it's our problem or what, but we had a couple of them that was posted incorrectly that affected the expenditure budget worksheet. And there's one on the service contracts looks like we need to raise that one that I didn't get to Kelly after re-looking at it on that 3102 line item, Kelly.
Are you talking about county general in the sheriff's department?
No,
Like the 1,0400, 3021?
3102.
3102, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that should have been at 26,000 instead of 12 because of the new SOM system that come in, hopefully coming in January.
Okay,
Should have been
sorry.
how much?
Should have been 26,000.
Instead of 12?
It's on bottom of page 2.
Bottom of page 2, that's correct. That's the only one that's glaring at me that I missed on that one.
Does the fleet insurance mean? I mean, is it, I know there's a couple of accounts that at the end of the year you adjust, as such, there's a lot. It's up here.
I'm talking about the fleet insurance,
Not the right line, yeah. It's above, it's,
3073? No, 3053?
Is that one of the, I know there's a couple of accounts that at the end of the year we move other places, but that one's a lot higher than what was budgeted. And even what's budgeted for.
She's asking about the
That same line item,
fleet insurance on 3053. It's about a little more than halfway down that same page too. Fleet insurance 3053, it was budgeted in at 37, and current year to date is at 48.2.
They got double the amount of cars this year. That's one.
That's right. We bought 12 cars
That's right, yes.
and didn't anticipate that.
And that's in the, is that what the other miscellaneous is? What is that?
which line item?
The 3100.
Oh, you mean like what was used?
I mean, I've
What
just
was used
noticed,
for?
I mean, it just, we just budgeted, we did a
We
revised budget,
budgeted
but then we kept,
5,000.
and then
Okay.
it's,
Part of that is that litigation with those ex-employees.
okay,
That was a big ticket item there.
Yeah.
okay.
If you noticed, I think I've got requested 5,000 over there, right?
That's why I
So
wondered.
that's where that's at, and I don't know what the final numbers were, but that's where that came out of that line item.
Major Roundsville, you and I had talked a little bit about looking at, back on page 1, third line item down, my favorite line item, OT. Overtime. And the only thing that you and I had talked about, Major, was the fact that we do this every year, we budget X dollars, and we always are over budget, and wondered if we needed to extend our budget any. Are you satisfied at the 48,000?
I think
The jail budget's one
the jail budget.
The jail budget's the one that
Jail
we're
budget's
gonna look at a little differently?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Cool deal. I just knew you and I had talked about it.
It's the jail budget. If you notice, it's down substantially from our requested budget. The one I've got's August 31. I don't know what the current number is through September 31. On that line item, it's on that 1005 overtime on the deputies.
Now, you on your budget or on the
Yeah,
jail?
on the sheriff's budget on
Yeah.
page 1.
Yeah, 1005.
What's the current overtime expenditure through?
34,885.
All right, so we're pretty close in line there.
Okay.
We requested 48 and we're at 30, whatever number.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, but the jail budget on the overtime is the one that we, I think, discussed, or you and Major Roundsville talked about increasing that one. Because if you jump forward to the jail on page 2, that's where it's at. We had an annual 42,000 for 2020 budgeted, and we're,
It's in a separate, okay, so the sheriff is,
One and the jail's a different one?
right,
Yes.
the budgets that go under sheriff, the 0400 account are all together. And then the budgets that go under the 0418 jail is together. They're gonna all be here. So, that right there,
Inmate
this is jail.
This is the jail?
That is the budgets that go with the jail, yeah. And the jail actually starts on like page 3.
I'm gonna really confuse you. Sheriff, on these other, before I pass these jail budgets out, on these other smaller budgets, communication fund, drug control fund,
Senate fund and so forth.
is there anything in particular there in any of these, the helicopter fund?
They're all basically the same as last year, wasn't it, Kelly? What I'm looking at here.
Yeah, most of them
Let
are.
me see, let me find that sheet.
That grants and aid is a little more. I mean, you budgeted straight across, but, it's a little more than some of the others. Juvie grant.
If you look right down the revised budget and the 21 request, they're pretty close. It looks like the total number, jail fees is up 39,000. Looks like on the bottom of page one on the jail operation maintenance fund. Everything else looks like it's pretty well the same as last year. The big is at overtime in the jail.
Now, here's what we're looking at. Now, this will be the jail-related budgets.
Yes, that's what I'm looking at right here.
Okay, all right, so that's what I'm just now
Right.
printing out these. All right, you've got a sheriff's office budget is what we had in categories that fall under his general office, and this, everything will fall under the jail. Two major categories under the sheriff. Kind of like the judge would have road department and landfill.
Is that 2 million what he's got left right now?
That's what, of projected revenues, that's what he'd have to budget. 2.860229.
Where's the board gonna find that?
No,
I
that's,
noticed,
that's, what- yeah.
I noticed on the jail fee revenue that it's running about half. They're just not sending
Just messing
revenue that
Well,
way.
Now, see, here's your revenues.
We were running historically, since I've been in office, 159, 160,
Is this what
somewhere in
he
there.
has, what he's carrying over?
Daily population in jail.
No, that's what he's
We've been running all this year
anticipating
since
getting in.
COVID, 70
He's
to about
worried
90
about
on the
is,
high. So about 2/3 or half or less of what we've been running, so that's where those numbers are.
County General
Jail
Counsel.
fees state.
All pretty
It's
big.
on page one. Look on page one right here. That's where he's at year to date.
Okay.
This is what he's,
Wanting. So he's,
Why is there so much overtime in the jail?
so he's put the raise in for the.
Well, because the main reason we can't keep a full staff.
Kelly did, the
You gotta keep
2021
pulling other people off the
request
shift. They work
is
the shift
without,
and try to get the ones
and
that
that
are
one
off
is
to
with.
another shift.
And Kelly did
Have
it.
you had any issues with COVID related? Have you had people that you had to send home or anything
Did
like
she do
that?
that? in all of them?
This year, I was just curious for the
We've had
money.
a couple of deputies that came down with COVID, we put them off. And a few people in the jail, I can't give you the exact number right now, but we've had some we had to send home for 14 days.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my jail secretary, passed away.
Yeah.
And we didn't know anything about it. Supposedly, they tested her when she was in St. Bernard's in ICU and said she had COVID, but she actually passed away of double pneumonia and heart failure. So now how they coded it, I don't know. But that's the only biggie there.
See where we budgeted 42,000 this year, and that's what the major and I had talked about. He can't help it, I mean,
It's just the nature of the beast there, if you will.
all I asked was, let's get a little more in line with our actual anticipation.
Yeah, I mean, you look at 18, I mean, it's always right up there.
Yeah, it's always right up there. I'd rather get it done on the front end, and because it makes me ask questions every month. Why is overtime so much? Why is overtime so much? And if it's in budget, I won't even mention it.
I did notice this on the, I was just curious, we had talked about the food and supplies, and I noticed that since you've not had near as many people out there, your food has gone way down.
Sure.
So,
Less than 103,000
Yep.
this year, yeah. Sheriff, what'd you put in, and I haven't had a chance to look at yours, what'd you put in for cars this year?
6.
Okay. That's what, 180?
Let me go back to that. I think that's right. Let me find the right one.
And that would have been in your sheriff budget.
That's on page number 3 of the sheriff budget.
Equipment purchase,
Equipment purchase.
180, yep.
I got 60,000 on equipment purchase and vehicles, 180. So the 60 would be car cameras, other equipment to go in those 6 vehicles, and 180 is the 6 vehicles. And right now, I don't know exactly what the cost is gonna be for those vehicles yet. We should know sometime between now and the end of the year, but
You bought all 12 of your vehicles so far, haven't you?
yes, we did. So
And
basically, what I budgeted there is 30,000 per vehicle. And they're running
On the 180.
on the 180, and that's 28 plus on the vehicle times 6. So I just budgeted for 30,000 apiece.
All right.
It's gonna fluctuate some, we gotta pay sales tax and all.
In looking at that equipment purchase, the line item above that, you've outfitted all your cars for less than 32,000 and on a $30,000 budget, which is fine. But why are we doubling? Why are we going to
Well, we're trying to
60?
get some cameras, you know.
That we don't
I'm sure
currently
I don't
have?
have all cameras for all of the vehicles, so we're
Okay.
trying to do that. And then the equipment, those cameras are about 50, without an exact number, around 5,500 apiece for car cameras. And I'm steadily working, trying to get us to that, so we're 100% car cameras.
I think we really, I think that's something we really gotta do.
We got to do it.
Yeah. I've got a question, and this just,
Sure.
I'm just curious. So I know last year or was it maybe the year before, we turned to the turnkey health?
Yes.
Is that working out?
It's working out good. I'm glad you brought that up. I got a letter a few weeks ago. They, on their new contract, they're going up like I want to say it's 2 3/4%. Other places went up like 6 or 7%. And for some reason, they're only raising our annual contract 2 3/4% roughly. So that's the reason it's up some. Let's see, let me find out.
Sheriff, I got a question, just out of
Sure.
curiosity. And anybody had to be airlifted, I know we went airlifted from the jail, but was airlifted from Osceola the other day. County didn't have to put that bill, did they?
An inmate from the jail.
We had one airlifted from our jail.
Yeah, but the county don't have to put that bill, did they?
I'll have to get that question. That's a good question, because Pafford is not taking all those expenses. That's another issue we need to talk about later about Pafford and our EMS service, but, I'm hearing that they don't have a full staff of vehicles and manned vehicles right now for whatever reason, I don't know, but,
I've heard a lot of complaints about them.
I think they're supposed to have 3 vehicles on the north and south end, fully staffed. I don't think they got them. I think most days you might be lucky to have 2, is what I'm hearing.
It's my understanding that the person in question was released from the jail prior to being.
That's kind of what I heard too, and I just hope the county was not gonna have to
It
put that
should
bill.
fall on him, but for me to give you an exact, I should give you an exact answer with him.
If we get into a situation like that, we're trying to, and working with the judges, get them cited into court after go out of the hospital. They're ever lifted down, so we don't have to incur those charges. And we just have to stay on top of that. That's another issue that's ongoing all the time, you
No, I
know,
understand.
when you have something like that.
I just was hoping we didn't have to put that bill.
Well, if we got him or her, whichever one it was, if we got them decided in the court, we won't.
Thank you.
Yeah, then,
Do you see any questions?
No, sir, just
I think there's one in Wilson that you're talking about.
Yes.
But he was out beforehand.
Is there anything, I know I was out for a
Well, I know
second, is there
he said-
anything he wanted us to
Well,
add to it if we had the
I
money?
think that was self-inflicted.
I'm not, yeah, I understand.
You know, the big thing, the big deal is in the overtime, adding to the overtime,
It's amazing what people do.
to put it in line in the jail.
And the clothing and uniforms is way down
What's that?
here too. I mean, they've done a good job of paying the.
In the jail overtime pay, he's been running 18, 19. That's where we're at today, and that's all we've been budgeting. The high school,
That's your budget anyway.
get real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's the
So you
reason
went with
he's
the
done that.
CENTAS, the uniform program last year, is that right? Did y'all do that down there?
We
No, you
talked
don't.
it over, but we didn't do it. We didn't go through with it.
Oh, okay, so
They
that's,
decided in the jail they didn't
They're gonna
do
spend
that
that
yet, so we're not
$120,000,
gonna use it.
well, I noticed that,
At
yeah.
least put it in there, and let's, at least anticipate it.
Well, I know the judge had mentioned he was thinking about doing that with,
Right.
the road department, I just didn't.
Where we at here?
Kelly, do you know off the top of your head, do you know off the top of your head what what are transfers to county general, from county general to the jail been?
I know we put in the budget right at $1 million, we're going to have to increase that.
That's what I thought. Aren't we there?
Oh, let's just.
Oh, for this year?
Yeah.
Should be like,
Yeah, year to date, at the end of September, we had transferred $1,126,460.
That's what I thought.
That's what we expended, what the budget.
No, I did notice that, that's why I asked about it.
No, we did not go.
Sir,
you need to go.
I'm not sure.
maybe here in a minute, Betty had,
We left it in
Just
the
as-
budget.
Was there any-
Pepper has a couple questions.
there any
We'll
reason
hang
you
around for a few minutes,
decided
but
not
one of
to?
my daughter's batteries dead, I'll go boost her off.
Okay.
There was a reason, some of them in the jail didn't want to do it,
I'm
Okay.
sure she left something
you
on.
know.
We're getting pretty close.
I thought it was a good deal, but they didn't want to do it, so.
Do you have a question, Justice Pepper?
No, it's a personal one. I'll ask the sheriff later.
Oh, okay. All right. That's
Kelly,
fine.
what was that number again? I didn't hear, I'm sorry. Transfer,
Yes, the transfers to the jail, year to date as of 9/30, is $1,126,463.80. And in the budget for 2021, right now, we just have a little over $1 million in there. And usually we just adjust it to, as we get to the end, once we know more about insurance and salaries and those things, and we get a set number, then we just have to increase that one to make it balance. It's normally what we do.
What was that line item number, Kevin?
The transfers?
Yes.
Well, it will be in your revenue.
That'd be on the revenue side,
Yeah, your
Sheriff.
revenue.
Okay, I got it.
so the transfer is not like the JP's salary. When you get to the maximum, you don't get any more.
We're gonna refer it back to Judge Burnett.
We got 1 year's reprieve from that $1 million transfer with the jail fee issue. But other than that, you can just bet it's going to take $1 million out of county general. We have the sales tax, we truly do, that helps. That's all it's ever done, is help. That's all it was ever expected to do, is help. And that's why we had such a real issue with the cities with the jail fees. But the jail fees, all they do is help, you know.
And that's down considerably this year.
That's right,
Yes, it is. COVID hasn't been kind there, but anyway,
And it's not going to be.
Yeah.
anybody have any other questions of the sheriff and his various departments?
I'll ask one more time, I know we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. What about the fines and the collection agency? Have you looked into that at all?
We've talked about it, but, I haven't found a collection agency that wants to do that right now. So we're still doing the state hold back on the state income tax. We do that every year. It brings in some money, but not enough. I think that part of that is another issue that Ms. Dean will express to the court when she comes up to present her budget, what her forecast is from the court for next year, and I don't know all those numbers.
Well, I will tell you, Judge Langston gave you a nice compliment on how we've been moving forward with collecting fines this year.
Sure.
So that's really going in a positive direction. I just wasn't sure about those. I know we have some that are really old, and if
Sure,
there's anything
sure.
to
That's right.
do with that.
I talked to Judge, Catherine Dean, prosecutor, fixing to be judge for the first of the year, about her budget earlier today. And she assured me when she does become judge, she's gonna be very active in collecting old fines, or assisting the sheriff's office collecting old fines like Judge Langston's been doing.
Yeah, no, I think she said that it's really going in a good way. That they're collecting money, they're getting some of those old fines taken care of. Off the books. Some people may have served time. I mean, but it's.
Judge Langston is working very well
Yeah.
with us right now.
Yeah, that's what.
Very well.
Yeah.
And I did have a question if you
Yes, sir.
don't mind. This COVID money that we've been keeping track of all of our expenses all year, like everyone was asked to do in the state and other states.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea when and if we might be able to collect some of that money coming back into the county?
All that's going through the Office of Emergency Services, Wayne Reynolds.
And the county judge, isn't it?
And, he's under the county judge, but that's what we established that fund for, was for all that money to go back into that.
I'm chair of that committee.
Oh, and Justice Nelson
Okay.
Committee. And,
Because I know we've been keeping, Catherine McCullough's been keeping a strict eye on that, keeping all those numbers to turn into the judge's office and Wayne Reynolds, so. It was just a
she needs to
question
get
I
those
had.
in because there's timelines and timeframes.
Time
And they need to talk to Wayne Reynolds just as soon as possible and get whatever they got available into him, and then, kind of keep current.
I know he's been passing that information on, I just didn't know what the timetable was.
Kelly is.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, if you can ask him to send me any of the payroll or personnel, like, I know that one of the things that we get to claim is anyone whose job description has greatly changed due to COVID, their job duties, and that is a lot of your people.
That's right.
So if he can get me that Wayne has passed that on to me, so I'm having to fill out all of that information, so if he can.
I think he's already passed it on to him because we've got one full-time employee dedicated to checking temperatures and all that, and logging people in as they come in and out of the jail. And we didn't have that before. So I've got one person that's been doing that all year, plus our extra supplies and so forth. And if someone came down and tested positive, they're off. You're supposed to get credit for like 80 hours and be reimbursed for an 80
That's
total
right.
per employee for the year, my understanding. Is that right, Kelly?
Yeah, it's just one, the federal law is just one.
That's right. One time per person. So
But then
that
the
could,
county passed the ordinance, so that will help some of those people too.
that's right. So, I mean, we should have some money coming in there.
Well, and especially, that's why I asked about the overtime. So
Yes.
if you had to, incur overtime because of,
That's exactly right.
it's all.
Justice Bird, didn't we have a little talk last week that they hope to have that money dispersed by like December the 14th?
Yeah, I think everything had to be in by the 15th of December, and it's supposed to be dispersed by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, that's exactly, yeah.
What I read in Arkansas was that.
So if that gives you an idea on timeframe.
I'll have him go back and check with Wayne, make sure he's got the report that he's been keeping up with.
Sheriff, do you have any other major, either one of you?
Just that one line item, Kelly, that I'd like to change that number on.
26,000?
Yes,
Okay, I got that for you.
okay, that's it.
So what we've got left for this meeting is we're going to do the 911 right quick, and we're going to do county health, and both those should be fairly simple. We're done with y'all, and y'all can stay or go, but the thing I'm going to ask Justice Nelson is if he can give us an update on insurance, because I've not done that, and I know he's working on it with Kelly's office and with
Since you mentioned it, let's do it. Kelly, me, and a couple of her ladies in the office met by Zoom with the insurance people, Stevens. We thought it would look good as of June. It did not look good Friday or Thursday of last week. We are going to have a little bit of an increase. I don't think it's going to be enough to gag us, but it's going to be an increase. So, the insurance committee is going to meet next Wednesday. Those on the finance committee, if you can come, you're invited. And you are too.
I'm on your committee.
Anybody on the finance committee is welcome to come, and of course, the insurance committee. And we're going to make the decision what to present to the finance committee the following week. And at that point, you can make whatever decision you wish. It's not going to choke us, but it's going to be kind of tough to swallow some of the things that we've been providing without any problem. Now we got to make a decision whether to provide it or not. So.
That'll be tomorrow or next week?
Next week.
Okay.
It's not tomorrow, is it?
No, sir.
I mean,
Week from
Is that
tomorrow.
the sheriff asking if it's next week? If he would pay attention and quit talking down there, he would hear that. Next week.
Next week.
What time, Justice Nelson?
Ma'am,
What time?
we will send out a notice. We do not know yet what time, but we will. We were talking about what day, Monday and Thursday, I have commitments. So it's gonna have to be Wednesday.
I've got commitments Wednesday, so you'll be the only one here, Molly, you and Bill.
You can come Wednesday.
Yeah, I can come.
Okay, we're gonna move to the 911 fund.
Excuse us, we're gonna walk out real quick. Yeah, please. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I hate to run off.
That's so that you can hear it before you left.
Betty, do you want a copy of the 911 fund?
See y'all.
Y'all be safe.
Bye, Major.
Bye.
Hey, you notice what we didn't talk about?
Well, it's waiting for the phone.
You ain't going on the document.
They just sent me texted. I don't know if I
We're on lockdown.
I don't know if
They're off now.
We're on lockdown? And you know what it was about?
An armed robbery at the Dollar General, and I think the guy can find foot.
Again? Are you?
Gosnell.
Oh, you know what? 106.
Was there one at the Dollar General on Sunday?
Yes, on 6th Street.
Sunday,
Yes.
yeah, about then.
There was one just
There was
now.
all kind of police cars.
Yeah.
I've got it all figured out. If you'll just see me after the meeting, I'll tell you exactly how.
I'm anxious to know.
I will tell you how it's working. You know, that's twice in 2 days. I'll tell you what's going on.
Oh, I think I want you to.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay, thank you.
Sheriff is, I mean, all in all, he really kept it going.
He does a good, Sheriff does a good job. Guys, I passed out the emergency 911 fund budget. This is David Lindendy's fund. David's not here today, and I'm sure everybody's aware that David's not well physically. And Kelly's done most of the work on his budget with David's blessing, in discussing with David anything that he wanted to do. Kelly, anything that we need to pick up on, point out, scream
Yes.
over?
The main thing to point out on 911 is, according to David, he is going to have some new equipment to buy this year. And so we have put $100,000 in his equipment line item, 3020-0501-4004. He was not really sure what the price on the equipment was going to be. The good thing about 911 is, and Peggy may have input on this, but this year they have started receiving some extra, is it wireless fees, Peggy, or landline fees?
It is,
Wireless.
Yeah.
wireless.
Yeah, the wireless is really.
So they are doing, or his fund is doing fine with money right now, and he was not worried about having the money to have to purchase that equipment. So if we do need to adjust it later, we can. Just at this time, we just really don't know how much it's going to cost.
So we put in 100,000 to have something in there and anticipate something and.
Right, and then I did put a little bit of an increase in the wireless, but Peggy would like to comment.
Well, right before
What am I missing here, the
lunch,
fact that it's 800,000?
we got
back to
some information
501?
from the
What am I missing?
AAC on the projected revenues.
What am I missing on this?
And I believe on her
That's
report, she
expenditures.
has 400,000 on wireless. The actual figure is
Yeah.
759,000.
So he's got more income than he.
So that's quite an increase.
Move
Sorry,
on.
Bill Nelson's talking, with that information.
But he's like the sheriff. Say that again if you don't mind.
759,000 wireless money.
Revenues?
Where's he getting all this money?
From the phone company. Because of all those texts those teenagers are sending.
Yeah, look on the bottom of your bill.
I mean, that's funny.
And Molly and Melinda and
Those little emojis, get extra for them.
Bill was asking what's the difference on the very first page. It shows the 804 and the 501. He said, now how come they don't match? I said, well, one's revenue and the other's expenditures. And he said, let's move on. Does anybody have any questions that Kelly can take and pass on to David? Kelly, he's got, what, 2 people working for him?
He does, he has 2 guys that do sign maintenance that work under him.
does Reynolds work for him?
No, 2 separate offices.
Okay.
Uh,
One up here and one down there.
Okay, so you've asked, historically, that was one position. When we first started the 911 position, it was under the Office of Emergency Services. And David Lindy, he did both jobs.
Yes.
And then when the 911 project started, it involved all the new road assignages, the numbering systems, the home numbering systems, and David was flat overwhelmed.
But he wanted the job too.
He wanted the job, but it was more than he could do to do both jobs at that time in setting up the whole new 911 numbering system. Since that time, it's kind of leveled off. Now, there's still plenty of work in 911. There's plenty of work in OEM, but they kind of leveled off, and neither one of them are overwhelmed anymore. And
I want to ask you one question before we head to the barn. I'd say 5 or 6 years ago, I believe that I was told that we were one of the few counties that a cell phone would tell the 911 operator where we are if you were out at Big Lake.
that was phase 2. 911 phase 2.
Tell the operator where we were.
Give a GPS reading.
Now they tell me that's not true, that we never had that, we were never in that position. Is that, which one is true? If you called from Big Lake, broke a leg, do they not know where you are if you're on a cell phone?
I think they can triangulate you in the pings and locate you, yes.
I think they can get you pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, within like 50
Well,
yards.
See, I keep hearing all this stuff that, no, that won't work, you don't know. But I thought it did.
It does. They spent quite a bit of money, and that's the reason that there is so much of that revenue, that $804,000, actually $893 in revenues. is for the upgrade of equipment, and David's done an excellent job of keeping us on the newest, latest, greatest technology. We have to upgrade every 3 to 5 years, and that's what he's talking about, this new equipment that he's gonna have to buy. It'll be the next upgrade, but yes, that was phase 2.
We need to buy him a Coke.
He's done a good job. He has, he's done a good job. I wish him well with his issues, his health issues. But that truly is one of the positions that has been mentioned as possible consolidation at some point down the road between the OEM and the 911 offices, maybe bringing them back together in time as the two jobs have become more manageable. Did I throw up the tennis ball?
Are both of those under the county judge?
Yes, they are.
I thought they were.
Yeah, that is under the county judge's purview, sure is. They are considered his employees.
So consolidation would not be a major thing. I mean, it would be just meshing them.
Just mesh them, just like we split them. It'd be just, if we decided to consolidate, it'd just be putting them back together. You know, a lot of those things we've talked about doing it through attrition. We're not ever talking about firing anybody.
Right.
One more budget, guys, and we'll get you out of here. County health. Did I give you one of those? There's one of those.
Thank you.
Did you do this one, or did they ask for this? Nothing.
The health department? No, the health department did submit their own numbers and had every intentions of being here the last couple of weeks, but she has had to cancel and then cancel again, so I asked her to just go ahead and send them. And she sent letters attached explaining why she's asking for increases.
Myself. Can you keep me straight? On the back, guys, are the letters that Kelly was just referring to.
Has anybody suggested to her that we use work release to do this painting and working on the...
I doubt it. You know, when Judge Nelson was first elected, he asked me to go walk through the Blyville unit with him. And at that time, it desperately needed some painting and work, and we put about 10,000 in it at that time, which helped. But that's been 2 years. And it was a patchwork job even at that time.
Because it really, what the inside and outside needs to be painted, you know. No, that's.
Well, if there's a place that you really want to look hygiene, good hygiene and so forth, it's the health department.
Exactly.
And a lot of people do use it.
I think, honestly, I think her requests are reasonable. You can't put up a home and expect it to keep itself forever. If you don't maintain it, you lose it.
I had a question about the $50 a month increase.
Marcus Anderson?
Yeah, am I to understand that he is going to buy the supplies rather than the county?
That's how I understand it.
So he would be responsible for anything they needed. Who currently buys them right now, Kelly?
I don't know if that's something that they purchase and then turn in receipts to us and we pay out of their budgeted line items or if it's something that the state provides for them. I'm not sure.
Not a big deal, I'm just curious about it.
I mean, that's a good question. I'll ask her and let everybody know what she says. It might be something that Marcus already does and then he's just going up. I'm not sure. I'll ask and see what I can find out.
Well, and I know we're talking about for next year, but most definitely if he's using something different because of the COVID.
Guys, anybody have a problem with adding the paint in?
No, I think it,
Do not.
No.
All right, then, that's what we've got for today. Kelly, are we out of stuff to work on?
No. Harley called me and wanted to know, he was sick today, but he would like to be on the agenda next week.
Harley Bradley?
Yes.
What about
we
Susan?
should have the landfill by next
Yeah,
week.
we'll
too.
have land.
Oh, okay, so if we get Harley and landfill, have we done yours, Peggy?
I don't think we have.
You know you can't wait on the lawsuit to finish.
Why not?
Oh, I'm just curious. I'm not pushing you. So if we can do Harley and we can do landfill, and then maybe we can get Susan to look at hers. I know she is really busy this time of
Yeah,
year.
they're actually closed these next 3 days, closing their books. So I don't know if she'll be able to do it Monday or not.
Okay, so who else, what other big ones do we like then?
Road department and
And I talked to Tony, and he was working with the judge. I'll call him again. I was really encouraging them to get it to us.
I did talk to Daryl Turner when we came in here earlier. He said that he wasn't asking for any increases, so I could probably just do that one, and even if he can't come, there's not gonna be an increase, so you wanna do that juvenile?
Yeah, let's do Julie then. And then I'll call Tony. Has Tony called and talked to you about his budget? Tony Stone, the road superintendent.
I have not heard from him.
He and I talked a pretty good length about it, and I was encouraging him to get the judge to participate and do it however the judge wanted to do it, but to, just like I encouraged the sheriff to be realistic about his overtime, you know, I was encouraging Tony for them to be realistic about their line items. If they're not going to use $500,000 in steel and bridges, but they're going to use an extra $300,000 in gravel, let's just move it and put it where they want it. I don't care where he wants it. Just put it where he wants it, and let's be as realistic and accurate as we can. And that was encouragement I was given, and the judge was going to work with him. It's just a matter of getting your thumb on him, get him sit down and get it done.
Where did the judge put the asphalt for the money we got from the state?
I have no idea. I don't know. We could call Tony and ask him. But honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. Anybody else know? Steve, do you know?
I'm sorry, I was focused on this.
Do you know where the judge used the asphalt money?
No.
I don't. Do you, Cindy?
No, sir.
I don't either. I'll find out.
No, it's not necessary.
I'm curious as you are. I mean, they usually have a project, you know.
Yes.
Every judge does.
He does.
So. Any other questions? Any other thing? I've kept you an hour and a half, and it's not terrible long, but it's still long. So if you don't have anything, we'll call the meeting adjourned and look forward to next week.
That's their landfill and juvenile. And then if collector can do it, collector.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going to press on the road department. I don't know how much luck I'll
Okay.
have.
Okay, I'm gonna check on that one. All right. Sounds good.
You moved through that okay. It's got a lot done.
We moved through a lot today, guys.
Have a good.
You too, have a good week.
Hey, Harbons, meeting's over. You got any questions?